box score, make sure to tune in to the DenCoGridiron Show.
Well, hey, sports fans, thank you again for tuning in. This is the DenCoGridiron Show this season live every Wednesday at noon. We're on Twitter today, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. We're sending it out to 3 channels.
We're also live over here on Instagram as well.
Yeah, we're over here on Instagram
I guess we're
as
on
well.
4.
So, man, great stuff. So I know a lot of y'all can't tune in during the day, especially the players. So we'd love for your comments on the replay. We monitor those throughout the week. And then starting on September 26th, we'll be live again on Saturdays at noon right here in studio, bringing you Friday night's action, Thursday night's action. And we're so glad to be here on season 4. But this reset, we're going to be joined next by Coach Dave Henigan from the Ryan Raiders. So share this out, and we'll be right back. Coach Dave Henigan, how you doing, sir?
Hey, what's going on?
Man, you are another one of our tech savvy coaches. You just dial right in. Audio is fantastic. Now, do you have a technical intern over there that works with you at the Ryan Raider Fieldhouse?
I kind of do, but he didn't help me on this one. I've gotten pretty good at the whole zoom in and this type of stuff. Everybody's gotten pretty good at it the last few months.
Yeah, that's true. That's one thing that makes our job a little easier, because everybody's used to connecting virtually through the camera, through the iPad, through the iPhone. And, that's when we started the show 4 years ago, it was all about the video piece. I don't know about you, Grayson, but I don't like to write much, Coach. I like to talk and just tell football stories. And, man, so glad you could hop on this Wednesday with us. How did practice go yesterday?
It went well for the most part. I mean, it's weird because the reality is we've been at it. It's not like a typical first day of practice where you've been off. We've been at it for 7 weeks now. Different. It's only been going for an hour a day or whatever. But so we got to practice a little longer and put a helmet on, which gives it a different feel, of course. But it was good for the most part. A little sloppy, which is pretty typical in my opinion of. Yesterday wasn't the first day of school, but it was the first day we were in person in school. And so a little bit sloppy at times, but, all in all, pretty good.
Some of the challenges with COVID, we've all had to, I use the analogy, we're all been dealt a unique hand of cards, and you just got to play the cards that you've been dealt. But how have your players reacted to it and the coaching staff? Anything unique and different? I'm sure they're all glad to be back together.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. There's no doubt. They're fine. I mean, it gets to the point now that you really have been doing it, especially with the varsity. You've been doing it now, since mid-July, and a lot of schools have been doing it since mid-June, and it just kind of becomes second nature. You still, kids want to congregate, still kids want to, gather around together during their downtime and whatever. And so you're constantly trying to get them to keep those masks up when they're supposed to. But the reality is the things like disinfecting and those sorts of things that we have to do, it just becomes kind of second nature, just what we do now. And so it's pretty smooth, really.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from there, Coach. It's crazy to think that it's been, coming up on 10 months to a year since a lot of players have been able to just put on pads and stuff, but it's been, just several months of these regulations at this point. So it's good that everybody's at least gotten into a groove of things over there. But it seems like a lot of your players, even Jatavian Sanders mentioned to the Den Record Chronicle, like, man, we play today if we could. Like, does it feel like it's been forever? Like, does it feel like it's a long time coming for week 1, or has the hype kind of been growing more recently now that you guys can see the first game coming up?
Probably a little bit of both. I do feel like we could probably go play tomorrow if we had to. It's been, we didn't have an off season, so part of me feels like, wow, we're not ready. But that's normal for any first game. You never really feel like you're totally ready to play. At some point, you just need to go out and line up and see what happens. And so, I think it's a combination of both. Kids are ready to go. We have a pretty good core of kids back that have played a lot of football, a lot of big games, but we're breaking in a bunch of new ones too. And so they may feel a little differently than those guys like Jatavian that have been in 34, 35 varsity football games already.
Coach, had you on in the spring, and I saw Seth Henigan bouncing in behind you there, and we had him pop on briefly. And I kind of put him on the spot. I mentioned something about which school you're leaning toward, and I literally think the very next day or the next weekend he committed to Memphis. I know how proud you are, and that's a neat story here in Texas. The coaches that get to coach their own kids. You've got a ton of talent there at Denton, Ryan. You've been there before as an assistant, then you come back as a head coach. Was that part of your rationale when you took the job quite a few years ago now at Ryan, because you knew you had plenty of talent that came through the field house here?
Yeah, I mean, no question. I think that I had a good job in Grapevine, and particularly dropping to 5A, Grapevine became a much better job than it was in 6A, and it's a great place to live, and we enjoyed it there. But yeah, I mean, Ryan's a special place, and so and talent is certainly part of that, and there's a lot more to it, but that's definitely part of it. We felt like my goals are still to win a state championship as a head coach, just from a football perspective, in addition to everything else that we do for kids. But from just a football, that's still a goal of mine. It's the reason I came back here. We've been close, and so I mean, being around talented kids helps you be a better coach. There's no doubt.
Yeah, it's been fun. There's so much talent in all the schools that we cover here at the DenCoGridiron show to see those kids develop. When we see them as sophomores, starting to have that glimmer of shine to them, and then they move into their junior year, and now their senior year. It's just a special time, and you get to kind of foster that relationship on to the next level. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, Coach. I was gonna say to kind of round back over to your son Seth at quarterback. When I was in high school, my dad was actually also my coach of the high school team, and it was an interesting dynamic, that father-son player-coach relationship, and kind of balancing that. And that obviously improved with each game on our end. But I remember seeing him, like, in his first game. I was there at that game in his debut as the starting quarterback, and just thinking, like, man, he honestly he's got some pretty big shoes to fill. He just watched Spencer Sanders roll through and kick butt for 4 years, and now here he is. His dad's the head coach. He's got a lot to fulfill himself here, and yet now here he is. He's seen a ton of success. He's going to Memphis. I mean, what does that mean to you, just to be able to work with your son these last couple of years and see him develop and know that he's going to get to progress to the next level?
It's been a lot of fun. It's not always fun. He took over for his brother in an injury against Denton High. And after Spencer had just graduated, so absolutely. I mean, he had big shoes to fill, but Seth's always been kind of unflappable, really, his whole life. I mean, even when he was playing T-ball when he was 4 years old, he didn't shy away from going out and playing with the 6-year-olds and get hits and run around the bases. And so the fact that he did that and stepped into those shoes and didn't get phased doesn't really surprise me. He's worked hard to make himself into a better quarterback and a better football player, so I'm proud of him for that. Obviously he's as good as anybody I've ever been around. And so getting the opportunity to go play at the next level, I think, is a goal. It's been a goal of his. And so I'm proud of him for working really hard to attain that goal. It's not always easy to be a coach's kid, and it's certainly not easy to be a coach's kid here. It's certainly not easy to be a coach's kid at that position here. When people think the only reason you're playing a lot of times is because you are the coach's kid. And so to fill into those shoes and to take on that role head on and to not be phased and to play the way he's played the last couple of years, it's credit to him and his work ethic.
Hey, Coach, one final question. You got a whole slew of talent there that the whole Denton area knows about, but is there an up and comer, maybe either a move in or a kid moving from JV to varsity this season that we should have our eyes on?
Anthony Hill. I would have your eyes on Anthony Hill. There's several probably, but Anthony's a kid who physically certainly looks the part. at about 6'2.5", maybe 6'3", 215 as a 15-year-old sophomore linebacker. And he hasn't played much on Friday night. He played a little bit in the playoffs. He ran down on kickoffs, and he got some mop-up duty in some of the early playoff games. But, he's already garnered a bunch of scholarship offers from some of the biggest programs in the country, and we look for big things from him, in addition to a lot of other kids. I mean, we have a lot of kids that are going to have to step up and fill big roles. Colt Delatorre, another sophomore that's probably going to end up being our starting center as a sophomore, who's obviously got some bloodline with his dad, who was an NFL player, and his brother, who played at the University of Texas. So we look for big things from both those guys, in addition to a lot of others.
Well, Coach, Imani Bailey was your main running back, for the last couple of years. Kiori Hicks takes over. I know he's had plenty of opportunity back there as well. What do you expect out of him this season? Because I know you like to balance things, lead with run and then throw the ball with Seth back there in the pocket.
Yeah. I look for big things from Kiori. Kiori is very, very talented. He is, in my opinion, he's a scholarship running back. He's going to be the featured guy this year, and he's really had a great last 6 or 7 weeks, working as hard as he's ever worked. And Kiori is super talented. So, I hope that there's not going to be any kind of drop-off, to be honest with you.
Well, Coach, we know that the expectations and your expectations and goals for the team are another state championship title run. And we wish you guys the best of luck in 2020. And thank you so much for coming on the show today.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Coach Dave Henigan, have a great season. We'll talk to you soon.